Ouch.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah. How y'all doing? It's your girl, Miss Mimi, aka Mimi the Great. It is the Love Power Radio Show, and today is Saturday, the day before Mother's Day.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers and the aunties and the aunties. For those of you who don't know what an auntie is, same thing as auntie. T. Jones. Grandmas that took over, all of that, right? Happy
teachers.
Oh yeah, teachers. Ooh, and so this week was Happy Teacher Appreciation, right? So to all the teachers, thank you so much for all that you do, because that's a job.
Thank y'all.
I know it was a job when I was in school. That's a job. Y'all need a raise. Y'all
do. Will you please don't tell somebody?
Y'all need what is that? Not incentives, but like coupons on a weekly for massages and all of that.
I'll take, tax rebates on homes. I'll take, a grown folk stuff. I can take care of them myself.
Adulting things.
Knock off a couple G's of that student loan.
That part.
That's real grown.
Yeah. Let's do like 3 or 4 G's of that. But anyway, it's Saturday, May the 8th. Like I said, it's girl Miss Mimi, and across the table I got my girl,
Latriva Deneen for short. Y'all get ready for this name change. Get into it.
Get into this name change, name drop on you. Pew, 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 pew.
All of them, yes. All shots.
So we're joined today by our special guest, Miss Hilarie Rock. I wanted to make sure. I almost said Sparks. I don't know where that came from. I think it's the energy drink I had on my way here.
Just don't say Dove.
No, not Hilarie Dove.
Okay, good.
No.
Just didn't want that kind
of.
No,
didn't want that kind
far,
of.
Far.
I had a conversation with Miss Hilarie outside, and so I ain't trying to bring that side of her out.
Well, amen.
Yeah, so
I like to spit fire.
I do too. I know, especially one that looks all innocent. But anyway, you already know I want to know, how was your week? Just because it's the day before Mother's Day don't mean that my nosiness has ceased. So, how was your week, Latriva?
Oh, my week was, it was painful. I have been doing this kickboxing thing. And I've been trying to keep this on the low because I'm real good at being inconsistent. And I didn't want y'all in my business.
Right. So
if I went hard for 6 weeks and then, left the stuff alone for the rest of the year, I didn't want y'all to be like, so what happened?
Yeah,
that's
what you did.
So I am definitely threatened by accountability. So I have decided to make myself accountable to the squad.
Nice.
So I am sharing that experience. So I've been kind of posting, doing some reels from the studio as much as I can. So, but what I noticed was, and I've been doing it for about 4 or 5 weeks, and my knees started to hurt a lot. And I thought it was just, you haven't been moving, your body's reacting to this, you're doing a lot of kicking and things.
Definitely reacting.
And so it, I was like, give it a couple weeks, it'll ease up. It did not ease up. So I was like, all right. So it got to the point to where, between each round, they have us like doing cardio things. Mm-hmm. So we're doing lunges and squats and all of these things. So I'm like, I can't do 98% of the cardio stuff you want us to do because it hurts. And so we have coaches. And so when I posted it, I don't ever post on the little shout out board that they want us to engage on. So somebody was like, you need to tell your coach because it might be an issue with form. But you also, maybe they can also tell you some things, but try this glucosamine and chondroitin. And so I was like, all right, I think I remember somebody mentioning it before, but okay. And so I went, and when I talked to my coach, she was like, it's good you rested, because I worked with her, and then I took 2 days, and then she said it was good. So I went another day, and then it was like, I can't even get off the couch. So she, was like, cool, don't worry about if you regressed or whatever, we need to make sure you don't get injured. So I tried this glucosamine and chondroitin, and I took it Tuesday. By Thursday evening, I could feel like it didn't sound like bubble wrap when I was getting off the couch. So I'm the little ones, baby. Like somebody was stepping on the child. 2-year-old tap dancing, that was a bubble wrap. That's what it sounds like. It was rough. And I remember, I always thought it was endearing. Stupid. But because I remember my mom passed, when I was younger. So, but I remember her knees popping and being like, "Oh, hide whatever you're doing because your mom coming," right? Because that was my alarm signal, was her knees. So when my knees started popping, I was like, "Oh," it sounded like aging to me. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm aging." Nobody said it was going to be painful. Yeah. So I was like, "Well, y'all can keep the popping. I'm going to go ahead and take this glucosamine." But it really did make such a difference that I could go back today. And so this has been a week since I, went last. And so it made such a difference. So I said all that to say it was extremely painful. I almost gave up my conquest of changing my lifestyle. I pushed myself to get some advice versus quitting. I got advice that helped to transform my experience. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it helps moving forward, because this is the place where I would have just thrown in the towel and been like, donuts for me.
That's it.
Because clearly kickboxing and health and the fitness, all of that don't work.
Costs too much.
Nobody wants me to be skinny.
They don't want me to be
They really messed up my knees.
That part.
So I did not give in to the donut demon. And I'm happy that I can get up, because last week Lisa was like, why do I hear you? Why do I hear you trying to get out of your car? And I was like,
trying to explain.
I'm in pain. Right. That's all I got is pain. Right. That's all I got right now. So if you are having anything to do with inflammation or joints, try glucosamine and chondroitin. It's a humongous pill. You have to take it 3 times a day. But I guarantee you, it is, when you feel the benefits, you will be okay with that lunch and dinner pill. Because it's like, if I don't take it, I'm afraid, So it's kind of like, it kind of blows my mind. Like, I can't believe it works so well. So ask for help. Because there are people who have answers, and you don't have to suffer. So
that's right.
That was my lesson for the week.
Yeah, suffering in silence is not a thing. No, it's not a thing. There's no point when you have people that will, and it's okay to ask. We've gotten into the realm of not wanting to ask because it makes us feel stupid, or I used to be there. Yeah, I should know all of this.
I shouldn't be hurting because I shouldn't be this fat. Because that's where it took me. I shouldn't be this fat. And I probably ate better than it would. Yeah, and it's like, so why even ask for help? Because this is ultimately something like, it takes you to a place if you allow it. Yeah. But it was like, okay, sis, I ain't got time for that right now.
That's a shame spiral you don't need.
I'm like, I don't have time for any of that. So just make my knees stop.
Yeah.
So it was, I've learned some things this week, so I'm grateful.
Awesome.
And how was your week, Miss Hilarie?
My week was interesting. I was talking to Lisa outside, and I have an issue with receiving. Okay. I can give all day long. I can give you all day long. But when it's time for me to receive, I get shy. I pull back. I'm I'm overwhelmed. And so this week has been a giving week with friends and family and people just calling and texting and congratulating. And sometimes it just gets to be too much.
Yes.
And I just want to retreat, but I know I can't.
Yeah.
There's something bigger than me.
So, the beginning.
So thank you for
Yes.
that. I make this face. I know.
That's my humble.
I used to, yes.
I'm trying.
I love it. Well, you deserve.
Yeah, everything that you're receiving, because you've sown those seeds, and it's something that I had to learn myself was being able to receive. I can give, I don't mind helping people, all of that. But when somebody gives just something as simple as a compliment, and I didn't notice that I was doing it until a friend of mine she said, every time I give you a compliment, you wrinkle your face. First of all, you must be paying much attention to me.
Right.
First of all. And I was like, no, I don't. And she was like, yeah, every time somebody gives you a compliment, you wrinkle your face. And I was like, okay, maybe I do.
Right. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
You may not have even noticed it.
I didn't. But it was awkward. And that was me reacting to.
Absolutely.
And it really was. It was a whew, okay.
Yeah.
Where's this going?
Right. I wasn't expecting
I don't know how it feels. Do you want something in return? Do I have to compliment you? Do I gotta pay you for that? The check in the mail type thing? Like what?
Right.
Yeah, so, welcome though.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
It's exciting, ladies.
I know.
I'm excited to be here.
Yay.
It is that's a journey.
Yeah.
So welcome to the new part of your journey in being able to receive. Because when you start learning to receive the small, then God can really overflow your cup and give you all the stuff He's been waiting. I've been waiting on her. She tripping. I needed to open up a little bit more.
Right.
Now I can give her. Right. So He's about to douse, because you're going to be like, oh, okay, thank you, Lord. Okay, thank you, Lord. So it's going to be awesome. Anyway. So, topics for this week. And one of them I wasn't able to get the deets on, but we're actually going to try to bring somebody in a couple of weeks to talk about it. But please be aware that the Jim Crow laws for voting did pass yesterday. I don't know how I feel about that. So I'm gonna leave it at that, because we're gonna talk about that in a couple of weeks. Because somebody I know that's wants to come in and chat about that. So, but somebody posted a couple of days ago, and they were kind of livid about not being a part of groups, like being a soror or in a fraternity. And they were like, because I'm not in this group, I can't get nobody to help me. And I was like, well,
but that's not the only groups there are.
Well, I mean, just period.
Right.
Their synopsis is that if you're not, any a part of is it Pen 8? What is it called? I forgot.
The Panhandling Council.
Yeah, Panhandling
right. Or even a Mason or an Eastern Star. If you're not, a part of
sort of social club.
then, don't nobody want to deal with you. So how do y'all feel about that? Like, how does that, do you agree? Do you disagree?
I'm going to say I totally disagree. I feel like that's all that she's looking at as far as a group, because there are other types of groups, or there are other things to belong to. You can belong to a church, and a church will happily help you. You can belong to a family, and if your family is a family of sharers, they will help you. You have friend set groups. You have groups at work. You have affinity groups inside of work. Outside of work, you can belong to the YMCA of Greater Houston, and they will help you do certain things. So I think her whoever said this, their viewpoint is very limited. They think they're the only groups that could help.
Right.
And quite honestly, if you graduate from a college, that's a group. You're an alumni. Alumni will help you do things.
Right.
Whatever your major was, that's another group. They will help you do things. I see it all the time. Black women that own businesses, people that have ducks in their backyard. I mean, there are
people
groups
like
for everything.
Yeah.
I saw the other day a commercial on Facebook, and it was a commercial about Facebook, but it was talking about Deaf Hoops. I don't know if y'all seen that, but it's Deaf Hoops. It was deaf guys who play basketball, and they have a group.
Come on
Now, don't tell me
Come on now.
that there's not a group for
Come
you.
on now.
If you can find deaf men in the city of Houston or wherever that play hoops, there's a group for you.
Yeah.
You just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
So
I think it sounded like a lot of insecurity. It sounded like this was something that she or he wanted to do and wanted to attain and be a part of, and the idea of networking within that group was something that was very real to them, and not having done that yet is making them feel like that's a part of why things aren't moving for them. And it's like that was such a part of their thought process when it came to, I'm going to do this thing because I'm in this organization, I'll have this affiliation to associate it.
Right.
And not having that's what that sounds like to me. It doesn't sound like it's really, I'm looking for places to get help for myself, because again, there are tons of groups. I mean, just on the strength of, I need somebody to help me. Like there are legit groups that are like, I'm a sister circle, come help, whatever you need help with, we want to be your friends. And so I know that you can't depend on all of that, but you can't anymore depend on whoever your sorority sister or brother, fraternity brother you've been.
Yeah.
And so I love your point of like, whatever you're looking to do, there's a group for that. So I definitely see the benefits, because there's an organization that I wish to be a part of. And from the point of pride that would bring me, I would love to be a member. But from the standpoint of like, oh, this is a significant way that I'm going to promote myself or move my business forward or anything like that, I wouldn't put that much weight into that affiliation. That affiliation is more of a personal thing than it having any sort of potential for benefiting my business or whatever. So that sounded like pain.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounded like
and
pain.
even when I read the post, I felt it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I disagree because their standpoint was like, these big organizations, if you don't have their name backing you, then you can't be successful. And it's like, bruh, like, where did you get that from? Because
that's pain.
I ain't a part of none of that.
Yeah.
And I am one of the ones that they listed, but they didn't help me get to
Exactly.
I got here because of the work that I did.
Exactly.
And God saw fit to put me in spaces in people's faces to, hey, do this, go over here and do that. Oh, let me help you with this. And it wasn't because I don't tell people what I'm a part of.
Exactly.
Not many people know that I'm Gamma Sig. Not many people know that I'm Eastern Star. So I totally disagree with that, and I do that on purpose because I need you to see me for who I am. It ain't got nothing to do with the letters. I didn't pledge a lot any because if I need those letters,
right,
that was my thing. So I didn't pledge in school, and then anyway, that's a whole nother show. I didn't even want to have to go through that. So we're not going to talk about that one. But what we is going to talk about right after these messages is we're going to let our, I see some likes. Hey, y'all. How y'all doing?
Hey, y'all.
Chime in so I can see who you is. But, let's see what this is. Let's see. Hey, Mika.
Which Mika? Sure.
Mika Palmer, owner of, gosh, and I can't even think, and I model her stuff all the time. Hey, sis. Kim Fashions.
Yes.
Sassy Boutique.
Okay.
And she is having a fashion show in July that is promoting and bringing awareness to sex trafficking.
Oh.
So
does she still need models?
I believe so.
I definitely would like to.
Hopefully we'll be able to bring her on the show because she is one of her daughters was that happened to her. So she took her, I think it took a minute to get her back, but we finally got her back. So anyway, we're going to talk to our guest after these messages.
Are you enjoying the show? Great, glad to hear it. Show your love for your favorite Stunner Radio shows with t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Visit our store at www.stunnerradio.com to get your Stunner merch today. We are urban talk radio for the Black and brown communities and all those who value diversity. Stunner Radio is the heart and soul of the culture.
Thank
Oh, and we're back. Sorry, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all almost caught me. Look, behind the scenes shenanigans is always on. It's here. Before, during, and after, always. But we were congratulating Treva on doing her thizzle in the kickboxing, because trust me when I tell you, dang, you did catch it. It's a thing, you know, and it's real for you to say, you didn't want to post it because, and that's a lot of times where I don't post stuff that I'm starting this or I'm in this or I'm going to this because I don't need nobody calling me in my inbox with so,
because I've already talked myself out of it, right? By the time I've checked out, it's a process of checking out. Like the self-doubt, the da-da-da-da. So by the time I've made up in my mind that I'm not going to do it no more, I don't need somebody coming out of nowhere like, hey, girl, I haven't seen you getting girl. That was really inspirational. Girl, can you let me see what you're doing, girl? And because then you're making undo all of the work I did to convince myself not to do it. So it's like, and there's that idea of the organization of the club, right? So if I am not sharing what I'm doing, then it doesn't make it possible for people to open themselves up and say, hey, let me help or let me be a part of whatever.
Absolutely.
And so I wouldn't have known like that there were these solutions for something that was really debilitating if I wouldn't have said something. You're not going to, just because you're not in this organization, and you can be in this organization and don't nobody check for you. Don't nobody see it for you. Like I didn't see people join chapters and stuff that folks were like, I only let you in because you were legacy, bro. I don't see it for you. You don't match us. So it's like, please push yourself, because that is a very limiting way to see, you know, the opportunity to get help and have more abundance.
Absolutely.
Not there,
absolutely. And then if the group is not there created, but anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Oh, there you go.
So today we are joined by none other than Miss Hilarie Rock. Of what group? No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm being
of Jesus Loves All Single Mothers.
Yay! Hey, I can't do the dance, but hey, okay.
You're so precious.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who your people is, where you from.
Oh, that's an interesting story, but I'll make it brief. My family is from the East Coast, New York and New Jersey. My father was in the military. God rest his soul, he's passed away. He and my mother traveled all over, they traveled all over Asia before my sister and I were born. We missed all the good stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then in San Antonio, Texas, which is where they landed, they got a divorce. So my sister and I grew up as Texans, even though the rest of our family is from New York and New Jersey, and talk about our draws and ask, do we have one-room schoolhouses, and do we ride horses to school? Oh, I heard all that growing up. As a little kid, we would be outside playing, and if I said y'all, I could stop traffic.
Oh, no.
I could stop traffic on the East Coast if I said y'all. Wow. So there was a lot of humor growing up. But I guess I'm a true Texan. I mean, I've got the boots to prove it.
Yes.
So that's kind of me. I didn't I kind of grew up in the church. So I was there in the pew. I would say I was there in the pew. Not always understanding what was going on. Not always understanding that there could be a relationship with God. And that was a tough part. It wasn't until after I had Mitchell, or actually going through his birth, because he was a preemie, that I called out to God and he answered. You know, it was a tough thing. So I gave my life to Christ when Mitchell was 18 months old. It was a sweet older woman that came into my life, and she saw that there was a desire in me, but I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to pray. I didn't know any of that. And she she still walks beside me today, but she was always there, just gently nudging, saying, well, let's try this, let's try this, let's do this, let's do that.
That's good.
And I will never be able to thank her for it. Like, never be able to thank her for it. Because it not only changed the trajectory of my life, it changed the trajectory of my son's life. You know? So I remember him coming home from Christian preschool, and he put the Bible in his hand. He goes, "Mom, look, I can hold 26 books."
Oh,
I had to leave the room.
oh,
I said, "Oh, sweetie, that's so awesome. That's so awesome."
Take me down.
It did. I had to leave the room. But then I was thinking to myself, okay, that's what you want.
Yes,
that's what you want. You want that to continue.
Yes.
Okay, we're doing good. We're on the right track,
Yes.
sister. We're doing good.
Yes.
And so we've just been on that track for all of our lives.
That's good.
Children change your life, don't they?
In
Even when
ways
they're not
that you
yours.
never imagined. Yeah,
Never.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's nice. That's good. So before I forget, how can people find you?
Oh, they can find me at HilarieRock.com. That's my website. I was encouraged to have a website, which is a chore for me to keep up with. So if anyone is interested in running that website, you're more than welcome. I'm also on Instagram at Girl He's Got You, and on Facebook at Girl He's Got You. So you can find me all three places.
Okay, girl.
And the book is on sale at BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
Right. So what prompted you to start to write a book rather?
Well, so that same mentor,
Okay.
we were going to start a counseling program in our church. And one of the counselors that had already gone through all the training, she said, well, she needs some practice. And I said, well, good, because I need some Bible study. So it was my mentor and a biblical counselor. And we had like 6 months. 6 months of just like intense, it was really therapy for me because they already knew everything backwards and forwards. So it was just me in there. And it was tough, but it was so needed in that season of my life. And I remember walking out one day and just crying and being so grateful for the resources that I had at my disposal and thinking, some moms will never have this. Some moms will never have someone that loves on them so much just to pour into them, to take time away from their family, away from their grandkids. They just won't have that. And so I said, I'll just make a cute Facebook post. So I got my notes in my iPhone and started making a Facebook post. And it got longer and longer and longer. And I said, okay, this is not going to work.
Right.
So a couple of days later, I'm having a tough day at work. And I started thinking about all the things that single moms face that we have in common. And so I ended up with 30 topics. And I just started writing. I took little snippets from what I had written for a Facebook post and applied it there. And the first one I wrote on was loneliness. And the second one I wrote on was fear. And we all fear, but we just don't talk about it. We are all very, very lonely. Not alone, because a lot of us are in rooms full of people. And you can still feel incredibly lonely. And not know how to cry out to God, think that God doesn't hear you, that he's judging you, that he's not listening to you. That's not the case. You know, the Old Testament is an interesting book, and I feel like you always need to know your history. But the New Testament is all about Jesus and his love, and that he came to minister to us before he died. He took the place of our sins. So that's the thing that I want single moms to remember, is that you have never gone too far. You have never done too much. You have never failed too many times for Jesus not to hear you calling. Never, ever, ever.
That's nice. So good. And so I'm glad you mentioned.
Well, I saw you flipping.
I actually landed on, because, I used to do this when I wanted to read the Bible, was I'd open it and would flip. And then where it stopped was where I would read.
Where you would go.
Right. Yeah. So, and this one, I've landed on fear. So,
I need one of those.
This is from her book, Girl, He's Got You, a single mother's devotional. And this is aimed at single mothers. So fear can be the most crippling of emotions for anyone. It can keep you stagnant, hold you back, and stop you from doing everything you want to do for yourself and your children or child. Most humans fear for a variety of reasons. Fear is part of being normal. I feared and still fear making one wrong move that would land she and her child, right, on the street. And so that's just and then at the bottom, and I'm not going to read you all of this, she puts a scripture, which is great. For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear. I will help you. Isaiah 41:13. And I think that is so awesome because fear, as she states, will definitely keep you from doing everything.
Yeah.
Not
Absolutely.
just something.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything in this world. And I think people miss that. I was listening to a sermon by a gentleman named Mike Todd, and he said a lot of times with any kind of ministry that we're going to do or anything great we're going to do, it starts in private. So you don't, like kickboxing, you don't tell everybody about it. You let God speak to you in private. Whatever is your walk, it's something with your children, it's something outside, it's a ministry, it's private. It's between you and God. Because most things that are good for you or most things that you want to start can be killed in infancy. That's the easiest way to kill something is before it has grown into a teenager or an adult, or it's on its feet and it's working. It's when it's in the very baby stage is when someone can take hold, and that's someone I'm talking about, the devil will take hold and make you stop. And that's the unrealistic fear. That's unhealthy. That's the fear that I'm talking about. Don't let that stop you.
Right.
Don't let fear of, I don't have any money to do this. You know what? It doesn't cost that much to start a nonprofit. Don't let, I don't want anybody to know that I'm going to school. What if I fail out? Then don't tell people.
Right.
Then don't tell people. Just go to school in private. They don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to be all over Facebook and Instagram.
So
Class today.
No.
I failed my test today.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
No.
And I think that's where people have gotten lost in that, because even for me with social media, I did not want to be on Facebook. I didn't want it. Tim talked to me about it. My brother and I would, that's how we talked to each other because he didn't live in Texas.
Right.
So he would send links, or, we talked to each other DMly, right? Or he would post and tag. But I thought, because I'm seeing all these people and every time they move, I cut cheese today. And
Yeah, exactly.
Why are we talking about that?
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
And so it's like, if that's what this is for, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Until I had a lady tell me, no, you use it for what you want it for. You don't have to use it like they do. Take it and use it for what you want. So that's huge. Yeah, I like this.
Don't let fear stop you. It'll always be there. You'll always be afraid. Always be afraid. And there's another section in there, and it's fear of dying. And I was sick when Mitchell was, maybe he was 8 or 9, and I worked at his private school, and I worked in the church as a church secretary. And I just remember getting up that morning and feeling so weak, like I could not move my arms and my legs. It's like I worked out 5 kickboxing classes in a row, and I just couldn't move. And so I thought, I'll take some emergency. I'll take some B12. I'll feel better. Nothing was helping. And so, of course, as the church secretary, you kind of clean out the pews, pick up all the stuff. I was in the church, and I literally laid down in a pew, and I said, I cannot move another muscle. And I called my baby sister, and I said, Tammy, you got to come get me. And I said, I'm in the church. You have to get me out of the church. Like, she had walked me to her car. And when we got to the hospital, I told them, I said, I just feel so weak. And they said, well, tell me some of your symptoms. And so I told them, and they rushed me back. What I ended up with was low potassium. It doesn't seem like much, except that potassium allows all your muscles to move. Every single one. And one of the major ones that you don't want to stop is your heart. Right. So I'm laying there, and I'm hooked up to tubes, and I'm like, no, my kid's only 8. I haven't taught him enough to leave him. I'm weepy. I'm afraid to die. Because I'm like, no, I need more time, Lord. I need more time. Graciously, the Lord gave me more time. But there's that intense fear when your children are young. You're like, and whatever your situation is with the father of the children, you still think, oh my gosh, they need me so much. Don't take me right now. And that's an intense fear, but you can't live in that fear. You can't. So what you can do is raise your children. I read this somewhere. Raise your children every day to live without you. Give them some new skill to live without you. So that's when I taught my son how to cook eggs. It was something simple, but it snowballed into other things. So So
and that's a thing.
That's so good.
That's a thing. Raise your children to my dad. And I didn't understand it when I was growing up because I didn't like his presentation much. Right. His presentation. He was a drill sergeant, so he drill sergeanted us all the time.
Oh, of course he did.
Right. And so I didn't like the presentation, but he raised us to be survivors.
Mhm.
You know, but he was extra hard on me because you're a girl.
Yeah.
I know I'm a girl, but that's a whole nother show.
Mhm.
So yeah, you know, that's the thing. And I remember trying to find the words to tell somebody that because I don't have children.
Right.
But I was kind of flustered at this person because I was like, you're not going to always be available.
You
So
won't.
they need to know ins and outs of
So
different
real.
things,
That's
paperwork. You know, if this happens, think about this, look at that. You know, just the stuff that I could remember Daddy telling me.
Mhm.
You know, and so they were kind of looking at me like, who you?
Yeah, but it was for you to be successful.
Yes.
When he wasn't here.
Right. Right.
Mm.
And I was trying to pass that on to somebody who has children. And they were looking at me like,
Why would I need to say this
Yeah.
to my kids still?
Okay, well, you gonna be here forever?
Right. Exactly.
'Cause you're not.
You won't. And you don't know when it's going to be.
I have
Right.
no idea. So
Right.
prepare them. There is nothing worse than a kid getting out and they're so lost.
not being equipped.
Not being equipped at
And being
all.
46
Yeah.
before you begin to make some connections
Mhm.
around
Mhm.
certain things.
Mhm.
And it's like, golly, you know, and that's no, that is not blaming, you know,
No, it's
the
not.
mom for passing or not or whatever. But I love that idea that we are leaving the child something because that's more important than you holding on to that fear.
Oh,
It's more
absolutely.
important of you not living
Absolutely.
through that fear.
Yeah.
And that is super valuable advice, especially from, you know, if he's a pre-K and all I can do is teach you how to brush your teeth, then
That's
that's what I've
something.
left you with.
Right. That's
You know,
something.
and that's going to carry with you. And so I love that idea of just like whatever you can do every day, I need to be preparing you to live independent of me
Right.
Absolutely.
at whatever your
Absolutely.
ability level is at this point. That is so, and it's humbling because I would only think that as a mom, like, you're my responsibility. I'm here to protect you. You don't need to know anything that this bad world has for you. I'll give it to you when you need it. And it's like, you don't know if you're going to be here to do that.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You do not.
Such
know.
a great point.
Yeah.
I've never heard that addressed,
Yeah.
like from a parenting standpoint.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I love the wording, so I'm definitely get that and post it.
There you go. See, there's your platform for something good.
Yeah, there you go. So
Right
DM
there.
some positive stuff I can post.
Yes.
And so we'll be right back after these messages talking more with Hilarie Rock and her book, Girl, He's Got You. See you in a bit.
Are you looking for a quality pre-owned vehicle but have less than perfect credit? Look no further than Mi Amigo Motors, offering in-house financing to help you build or reestablish your credit. All vehicles are put through a multi-point inspection, and their award-winning customer service and on-site service center will make your buying experience stress-free. I know you got your stimulus check and it's tax refund season, so stop by Mi Amigo Motors today at 9729 Long Point Road or give them a call at 832-548-5927 to reserve your appointment for their VIP approval. Again, that's 832-548-5927. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Exactly.
If you're looking for healthy meal prep, family style meals, or catering for your next event, look no further than the East Traveling Square Kitchen with Chef Square, Alan Phillips, specializing in soul food, family style dining, and southern flavor. Chef Square can adhere to dietary needs like keto and bariatric meal prep without compromising on taste. Take advantage of weekly meal plans like the Starter Pack, 5 meals for $75 with 3 entree choices. Additional meal plans and contact-free delivery is available. Contact Chef Square of the East Traveling Square Kitchen today at 832-495-8836 and tell them Stunner Radio sent you.
Yes,
don't give it to
indeed.
him.
Listen, we're back with Love Fire Radio Show. No, don't give it to him.
Black on!
That part.
Black on!
I love it. And I love it for her to say it. That's why she's my girl.
He's black on.
The name for short. But we're back with Miss Hilarie Rock, author of Girl, He's Got You. So, do you plan on writing? Because this is actually a devotional book, which is awesome. Because, like the excerpt that I read, There's a topic, and then there's space for you to write your thoughts out, which is always so awesome. To be able to write your thoughts, right? Get a journal. You know, if you haven't gotten this book yet, get a journal and just write your daily thoughts. You know, the journals are not the devil, but they will help you release.
Absolutely.
If you feel like you don't have a release of any other kind, get a journal, get a tablet, or you can go to, where's your book at?
Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, or you can go to my website, HilarieRock.com, and click on it, and it will take you to either of those websites if you forget.
See, there you have it. www.HilarieRock.com. That's HILARIE rock.com.
So what made you decide to do a journal instead of just a book?
That's an interesting question. I think I love journals. I love where there's a devotional written and then there's questions to prompt you to think deeper about the scripture and about what was written. And so I absolutely love that. And so when I started writing, I had 4 single moms in mind, and 2 of them really want to belong to Christ but aren't there yet. And so the questions really were for them, to prompt them to think deeper and to go deeper, to want more. And to desire more for their children. And so that's kind of where the questions came from.
I'm loving some of these topics.
Oh, yeah.
Like there was one that's the other parent, and I'm thinking that that's some healing that may have to happen.
Yes, there's a lot of healing around the other parent.
Yes.
And there's a lot of prayer that goes into that. I remember my other parent, or my son's other parent, didn't pay child support for me.
You didn't understand what the other parent was.
I didn't. That's what she said.
Oh, she's like, my son's.
But he didn't pay child support for a long time, and we would fight about it, and I would get angry, and I remember screaming at him at the front door, and I turned around, and Mitchell was just standing there crying. He had been 3 or 4, and I felt horrible. And I said, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about this anymore. If you want to pay, you'll pay. He's your son. He's not going anywhere. He's not going to get any smaller. But I could take care of it myself. I don't need your help.
Right.
And so I just said, God, you have to take this from me, because I can't be this angry all the time. Being this angry again leads into the other fear of dying.
That's
because
right.
you're so stressed out.
That's right.
And I was like, you're not going to take me out.
Right.
You're not going to take me out.
Right.
So God, I'm going to need you to step in and do this. And I literally stopped talking to him about money. One day he calls me, Mitchell's like 13, and he calls me and he says, what does Mitchell need? And of course I laughed, like you're going to get it.
Yeah.
And he says, well, just take it out of the child support money. And I said, what child support money? He said, I've been paying child support for a year. I said, oh, really? I didn't believe him. Oh, really? And so he said, I'm going to call you back. So he calls back, and he has his job send me a printout of how much child support he's paid. So there's close to $1,000 in some account somewhere. And so the money comes up, and he was like, I can't believe you didn't ask me. You didn't tell me nothing. I said, look, I told you that I wasn't going to discuss this anymore. Whatever you give me is gravy, but this is it. You're not going to take me out because I'm angry at you for not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so that happens. It happens with money. It happens with time. Are you going to pick them up when you said you're going to pick up? Are you going to be there? Are you going to coach the team like you said you were going to? You know, are you going to take them to your mom's? Are you going to do all these things that you said you're going to do? And I decided I wasn't going to be stressed out about it. I said, no. I said, God, you're going to have to bring other people. And so Mitchell has a plethora of other people in his life to substitute, fill in, because I did. I mean, when my mom and dad divorced, it was like the wings of angels just kind of came up behind my sister and I, just lifted us up. My Uncle Mitchell, who's my son's named after, my Uncle Kenny, my grandfather, my Uncle Doug, my other grandfather. I mean, they all were like, okay, we got you. We got you. We'll do this.
Nice.
And so I wanted the same for Mitchell.
Yeah. So how did you, before you decided to let that go, like they say, let go and let God, how difficult was it for you to not feel like you had failed your son in, being able to provide that And I asked that because I have a friend who had tussled with that for a while with her children because the father is not in their lives. Like he adamantly refuses just because she keeps asking. How difficult was that for you to let go?
I tell you, it was pretty difficult to do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I will never stop talking about the beauty of older women in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean like older in age. I mean like older in their walk with Christ,
Mm-hmm.
where they can see things that you can't, where they have a different mindset and just like a different view of the world because they're looking through Christ's eyes and not through the world's eyes, which, kind of makes you a weirdo, but that's okay. I'm a weirdo that's going to go to heaven. That's okay. But when she would come along, and mind you, she was married with 2 kids, didn't have any of the problems that I had, but she was able to speak hope into me.
Good.
And just to remind me of who I was. You're a child of God first. This is your heavenly father, not your earthly father. Mitchell's your child, but he doesn't really belong to you. He belongs to God.
That's right.
And so you're just given the job to parent him.
Right.
But this Bible here, this Bible is your set of instructions. And I'm going to show you some ways to pray, to meditate on scripture,
According to
where you can be a good mom.
Nice.
Where you aren't always looking over your shoulder at what's the other parent doing? What's this person doing? So you're driving down the lane and it's just you and Jesus. You don't have to look to the left or the right because he's right there with you.
Yeah.
And so that to me was the most helpful thing I could have ever had was her to mentor me, even through my mess. She would just be there pouring. And her favorite saying was, "Okay, I've given it to you. Now you need to give it away. Now you need to give it away." Sweet little blonde. She's about 5 nothing. But she would always say, "Okay, now you have it. You need to give it away." And that was just like that. And I was like, give it away? What does that mean? What does it mean, give it away? But the book, is what she meant, give it away.
Yeah, yeah.
So now I'm
Share
touching
that
a whole
information.
group of people that she can't.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
That's beautiful, actually. Taking back your power because there's a lot of power in that.
A lot of power.
Chasing somebody, trying to make them do something they don't want to do.
Yes, or can't do, not able to do.
Yeah.
There's a whole, you don't know how he was raised.
Right.
You don't know what he's equipped with.
Right.
How that may have triggered him,
Right.
what his thoughts are,
Right.
because oftentimes people don't talk about how they really feel.
Because
They're
his
not-
insecurities around fatherhood, I'm sure those
Absolutely.
were glaring.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of the tension y'all were feeling didn't even really have to do with you
None of it.
personally.
None
I'm
of
sure
it,
it
not
was
really.
his own, like, can I even do this?
Yeah. Oh, I'm not ready because I
Sure.
wanted this to be in place.
Sure.
I wanted, I expected to
being
have
able to
this
do
done.
that
and-
here,
Yeah.
then I'm acting out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Which is oftentimes how people are. They'll act out first before they
Ask for
actually
help.
say anything, and then we're back at that again.
That's right.
They're asking for help. So now I got to ask for help, and I ain't no real person. I'm not really
Right.
an adult because now I got to ask for help.
Yeah.
So then we're back at that, and it becomes a cycle until you stop and do something different. If I can invite you to do something different, that would be awesome.
Yes.
Instead of running that rat race, that circle,
Hamster wheel.
that hamster
Oh,
wheel,
that hamster wheel is so
it's
awful.
eventually going to keep you busy and make your stomach do topsy-turvy things, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't solve.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming through,
Yes.
Miss Rock. Again, you can find her at www.hilarierock.com or Girl He's Got You on Instagram and Facebook, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so have you started a group?
I
mean, because
I guess I need to start
the book is for, it's aimed at single mothers. So
It is.
have you thought about doing that maybe on Facebook, just kind of like a positive place for them to come and this happened today, to be in the midst of people who understand. It's one thing
Right.
for me to say to you something, to have empathy for a situation for you, but for somebody who's a single parent,
Right.
they can have that sympathy and it goes a lot further. It sits different. So have you thought about doing that?
Well, you made me think about it. Just and this whole show today has basically been about groups.
Yes.
And so groups are important because
Yes.
they do lots of great things. And I feel like single moms need a place to come and to talk and just to kind of air some of the issues that they have and ask for help. Like, how do I do this? You know, if a single mom said, well, you know, I can't even get bedtime right. Well, how old are your children? Let's start from there. What do you got in place now? Let's see how we can make it better.
What's your goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and I love the idea of the group, because what you can do is help new moms get rid of some of the I shoulds.
Yeah.
You know, if you
The
are
triplets.
and if you are a mom, you know, let's say, I don't know, let's say your schedule isn't a traditional schedule. So let's say the kids would go to sleep at a different time, or that there's going to be a group that tells you that it's okay. It's okay that your experience doesn't look like even the one that you grew up in.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we're going to help nurture you through this.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
whatever that experience is, it's okay.
Yeah.
And just because there's so much, I can only imagine that as a mom, there's already, you know, this, I don't want to break them. I don't want to break them. You know, but you're also trying to figure out what it is and that you're needing. And your point a minute ago of that there were women that were, you know, they had a desire for Christ, but they weren't there yet. That was so beautifully put and identified, because that is a person. You know, that somebody is there. It's like, okay, I'm moving towards it. And so to know that there's somebody who is willing to walk with me as I decide, you know, is this the path for me? Is this the direction for me? To know that there's someone who is willing to pour into me and be present with me and help me sort that out. You don't find that a lot. That is a very rare thing.
Yeah.
I think people just want to keep to themselves
Yeah.
and not share. I think people feel like something is going to be taken from them if they share.
Yeah.
And sharing only makes you better.
It really does.
Whatever it
The
is you have to share.
vulnerability of it.
Yes.
Oh, that was what was it for me. And was the sharing just when my divorce happened. I didn't want to share that. You know, the fear, the shame, all of that. And I think I should have started with the shame. And then people who haven't been through a marriage were the ones that were the loudest. You know, she couldn't keep a man.
Right.
You know, so it was
that
compounded. So I didn't want to share. And crazy as it was, that was the thing that I ran from, was sharing about. I actually, you know, I've you know, but that was the thing that the spaces God kept putting me in. I'm praying for release. Help me release. And because I'm expecting it to look a different way, He kept putting people in my space who needed to hear they weren't in this by themselves, who were dealing with it, going through it, needed to go through it. And it was hearing that, you know, I just got a divorce, or, you know, I'm dealing with the aftermath of the emotions, and they needed to hear that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And so it took me a minute to do it, but once I started talking about it, even though it was one-on-one, it was like, that release that I was praying for. That's what it was. So share, you know, and you don't have to share maliciously. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when you do share, people, you know, you do come across people who take it and they try to use it against you. So my favorite part of that movie that Eminem was in, what was that? Okay, thank you, because I got it wrong the last time too. My girl always on it. But he was the part where he was like, there, I talked about myself. So now what you got?
Right.
You are the best author of your story, right?
Absolutely.
And you sharing your ups and downs, or, you know, the things that you've been through in life will not only unlock you, but unlock somebody else. And so I ain't want to give y'all a little no right now, but truly, you had something.
No, I just love, like, that's just kind of where I am. I want to move in this, or on this plane, in love, and first for myself, and being as gentle with myself as I possibly can be, so that I can build compassion for others around me, and be that representation of love in the earth, and not so tight, so judgmental, so critical of myself that I can't be open.
That's awesome. And I like that. Be gentle with yourself. That's huge. Because we're good for okay. We're
Beating
good.
ourselves down.
Yeah.
Beating ourselves down.
Holding a ruler to and trying to compare to other people. Be gentle with yourself as you are going through this labyrinth of life. We're going to take a break because we are at the end of the show and then come back with our love notes. I know that sounded like love notes, but that ain't what that was. That ain't what that was. So we'll be right back.
Tax season is upon us, and it can be very stressful, but you don't have to go it alone. Contact Unlimited Taxes and More, the PRESA edition, for a unique filing experience because every taxpayer is different. You can receive the maximum refund legally due to you, accurate and transparent tax returns, reasonable fees, cash advance instant approval, 24-hour e-filing, and much more. And to ensure your health and safety, they offer mobile tax services. That's right, they come to you to do your taxes. So don't settle for less this tax season when you can get 24-hour tax support and audit protection from the IRS. Let Erica the PRESA and her certified tax team service you today. Get Presatized at www.unlimitedtaxes.com. Select the PRESA edition and don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you. Hey, it's your girl Lisa Dene, and I want to tell you about a product that has changed my life. Rain Premium Sanitary Napkins. Rain products are infused with a Nobel Prize-winning material called graphene. It's the graphene strip that provides the various health benefits that can improve your quality of life during that time of the month. Listen, I've been very loyal to a certain brand of feminine products, but I've never experienced the results I get with Rain products. The difference is in the graphene strip. Using Rain products has totally eliminated the painful cramps I experience, and it can also help balance your body's pH, eliminate harmful bacteria, and help fight fatigue. Graphene moves heat away from your core to keep you cool and comfortable. Ladies, it's time to upgrade your feminine care with products that not only offer protection, but also improve your health and wellness. Place your order today and receive your premium sanitary napkins delivered directly to your door. Visit www.drfcare.com to make your purchase today. And don't forget to mention that your girl Lisa Dene and Stunner Radio sent you. Life is better when you are living on purpose, but many times we get stuck in the rat race and in the mundane task of our day-to-day lives, causing most to lose sight of their purpose. That's why certified life coach, inner healer, and business strategist LaFlower Bowie is here to help you get calibrated to your calling through proven systems, techniques, and resources. Order a copy of her book, Principles to Reposition, to assist you with your journey, or schedule a free clarity session to kickstart the journey. After these sessions, clients have stated they found clarity and opened their eyes to things they had long forgotten. So get social and follow LaFlower on all social media platforms at LaFlower Bowie. And don't forget to mention Stunner Radio sent you.
Yes, and we're back to the Love Power Radio show. At the end of the show, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you would like to, please actually like, share, and subscribe to our Stunner Radio YouTube channel. You can also share share all of the shows because we are growing, right? Yes. www.stunnerradio.com is how you can keep up with us all. Or you can go to our individual pages. Latriva Deneen, what's your page?
Latriva Deneen on Facebook. And then there's also the Deneen page on Facebook.
Nice.
And then there is Latriva Deneen on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yes.
And for me, it's just Mimi, JUZTMEME, or the Love Power Radio Show on Instagram and Facebook. Holla at you, girl. So, we're at the end of the show, as I stated before. We are about to dash out with some love notes.
The love notes.
And that was so not practical.
Y'all know that's the theme to Love Boat.
Yes. I'm
The
happy to date myself,
plane.
baby. I will be. No, that was Fantasy Island.
And that came on after Love Boat.
After Love Boat.
So that lets you know what I watched.
Absolutely. On ABC.
Back to back.
Okay. They played. It's like wrong show.
Well, look,
Gavin
again,
McLeod.
that's why I'm so glad I have Deneen as my co-host, because she be checking us.
So I found a good one.
Okay, so Miss Rock, what love note would you are you going to leave with us today?
I'm going to leave with you. Jesus is not just for the Bible thumpers. He's for everybody. He's for you and for your children. Because once you know Jesus, your children get to know Jesus. And there is training, there is character building, there's attitude shaping, and there is soul defining that happens when you have that relationship with him and you desire the same thing for your children. You can change your life today by crying out to him.
Yeah, nice. I like that. There you go. Triple D.
So my love note is visualize your highest self and start showing up as her.
I like that.
I like that. Can you expound?
Yes. So I really am trying to transition how I see myself. There was a lot of negativity connected to how I see myself and saw myself, and I'm trying to transform that. And so I just believe that a lot of the things that have happened in my life that are negative are a result of me manifesting and believing the negative things about myself. So I want to see if manifestation works in the reverse, like everybody else says it does. And so, I think this idea of visualizing your highest self, I think that is self-defining, right? Mm-hmm. So I decide what my highest self is or what I want that person to be and represent, and then just start to be it. So it's not as though I have to earn the right to be that thing or be that way or be that person. Mm-hmm. If that is who I want to be, then I just be it. I just be it. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like, I don't need anyone's validation to be live. I don't need you to tell me, I don't need to wait until you tell me that I look nice or whatever it is that I want to be love in this place. I want to be a place where my students can come and know that they're safe. I can just show up that way. I don't need campus to call me that. I don't need a teacher of the year recognition to be that. I can just be that. And so it just gave me a lot of freedom to see that. Like, I don't have to wait. Like, just start being that. And so showing up that way is the manifestation of it. So I'm excited.
Nice.
I like it.
I love it. Nice. And mine, let me get this right. Y'all know I can't type and talk at the same time.
I know, right?
So if you hear a lot of clicking, that's because I'm
working overtime.
Trying to do it.
You're working overtime.
But mine is love yourself in all aspects. Right? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is love who God created you to be. Mm-hmm. For me, I was growing up, they always made fun of my nose. I was told that I had a ninja nose. I was told that I had
what does
not
that
ninja,
mean?
a nigga nose.
Oh.
I was told, I had a nose so on all of the old statues in Africa, they're big noses like this. They're wide noses. And so my nose, even by adults, would make fun of how my nose would take up my face and, stuff like that. And so getting older, having moles. I have moles. My grandmother has moles. They run in the family on both sides. And so I got talked about for that. And so it made me hate who this person is and all these things. And so I wanted to look like that person. I wanted that person's nose. And I would look at, I had nose envy, right? And so I would look at people's noses and be mad because my nose didn't look like that. And why her skin so clear? And, and then when you look at magazines, they have all these people who don't look anything like, it's bad enough ain't now one of them melanated like us. Right. They're painted on, they go to tan beds and such. So they painted, society to, if you don't look like this, you ain't. And so I fell into that heavily, not to mention my weight. I've always been a thickum.
Right.
I've always been big boned.
Right.
Juicy.
Right.
Okay. And so didn't like it because don't nobody look like that like me. So it took me a long time, and then life happened, and then the miscarriages, the divorce, and so crap. Maybe if I was thinner, I would say to me, somebody even told me, well, if you were smaller, he wouldn't have left you.
So
Oh,
right? And even for him, he made fun of, he didn't make fun of, but he told me, that he hated that stuff. He called it that stuff on your face. And he was talking about my moles.
Wow.
And this is somebody I was married to. And he said, that stuff on your face, if you would take it off, looking at it sometimes make me feel like your face is dirty. And so it took me, and this was in my 30s. So it took me a long time to get to this point where I love me. I love the fact that my hair is gray, and I don't like the fact that my edges are gone because the lady took my braids too tight, but that's a whole nother show. So, I'm still working on that one. But when it comes to everything else, I love that I'm fun size on my height, right? I used to want to be 5'8".
Yes.
Not no more.
that's overrated.
It's overrated.
It's nothing.
Y'all smell stuff up there. I ain't trying to smell.
Right. And everybody wants you to reach stuff. Everybody wants you to reach
I thought that was
stuff.
just me.
No, that ain't you, boo. Because trust me, I'd be like, can you get that for me, please?
Like, oh.
Yeah. So love yourself and who God created you to be, because not loving who you are, in spite of life's, happenings, is a slap in the face to Him, because He created
That's
you.
right.
Absolutely.
And I don't care what we look like, what color, spotted, stripe, pinstripe, polka dot, it don't matter. He created everybody in His image. We're supposed to look like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You get an amen from me?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So love yourself in every aspect of the word. It's not being selfish. Don't worry about what them other people saying because they got issues that they ain't worked through. Love yourself. Stand up in the mirror. It took me a long time too before I could stand up in the mirror and just look at me. I would not look at myself in the mirror with or without clothes, but do it, not happening. Don't you want to? No. Not doing it. Now.
Right. Give me a mirror.
Woo! Where the mirror at?
Right.
I need about 2 or 3 of them.
I'm glad that
Please.
window just turned into
What? Somebody's car, and I didn't realize they was in there. The window.
Right.
My bad. So I was in there in it. Right? So you deserve to be here, and just love on yourself. That's all I got. Please, every day, all day, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, the aunties, aunties, the TTs, the grandmas that stepped in. And thank you so much for tuning in. We can't be here. Couldn't have done it without you. Until next week. Love you.
Love you.